I read something that really struck me about the very beginning of this show, and you came on set without really knowing what to expect.
Yeah, I came on Walking Dead on the 3rd episode of the 1st season, and that cast was already super tight-knit. They'd already done publicity tours, and they were like, they were like the core group, and they were all best friends. And everyone's kind of looking at me like, he's a new guy. Who's this new guy? This is our show.
Already, even though it was only a couple episodes, you were the outsider.
Well, they've been together for a year, rehearsing and doing a press junket around the world. It was being amped up as a thing.
Right.
It was Frank Darabont, it was AMC, Gail Ann Hurd, it was like, heavy hitters. And, so we're doing this scene, and I got to come in and get in the main guy's face, and it's a whole thing, and everyone's protective of the main guy. They're all his buddy, and
at this point, you don't know if you could be on for 3 episodes or
I assumed
10 years.
I'd be there a couple episodes, maybe an episode or 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And came in and say these lines, and is feeling a little bit, nervous about it, and I turn around, and the whole cast, there's 15 people looking at me like, what are you gonna do? Like judging me. And I immediately got a little chip on my shoulder and felt like, oh God, they hate me. And I started talking out of the side of my eyes. I was like, talking, and then, I didn't really connect. Like, you hate me, I hate you too. And that's how I found that character. I started doing that. And the character slowly went from this sort of side-eyed, thing to like slowly, and when he means something now, he talks to you in your face. You can believe what he's saying to you. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's not a bullshitter. But in the beginning, he was a straight up liar, thief. I mean, the whole thing about the 2 brothers on that show, they were there to rob that group.
Right.
Not to join the group. They were there, when they go to sleep, we're gonna rob this place. And it slowly became sort of naturally a progression of this guy standing on his own 2 feet. And he wouldn't have been that guy if this apocalypse didn't happen. He would have just been his little brother, thief. He'd have been his brother.
It's so fascinating to me how you can take a little moment like that and unlock basically a whole narrative arc for this person.
There was a scene with Carol and Daryl, where he gets shot. He goes looks for her daughter Sophia, and he's out in the woods, and everyone's given up. She's dead, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna keep looking for this little girl." And he goes on his own, and just gets the beat out of him. He's hallucinating. He's bloody. He's cut up. He's hanging on by a thread, and he comes out of the woods, and one of the girls shoots him. Thinks he's a zombie, shoots him, and it nicks him, and he passes out and has this bandage on his head. And there was a scene where Carol, who's the mother of the little girl he's looking for, tells him while he's laying in bed, he's all bandaged up, says, you're every bit as good as the rest of these people. And that resonated back from when I first started the show. And she leans in to give me a kiss, and I flinched. Like, she was in my space, and
was that a plan to flinch, and you'd worked it out?
I was just feeling it, and then it became a storyline that I was an abused child, which became a serious storyline throughout the show.
That's an interesting way that TV is very different than films.
Yeah, you have the time and the space to do that, and when people are paying attention to it, it's a very organic. You see gray happen on my face on television, and you see how the personality changes to a stand-up. All of these things. It seems to me like an art piece a lot more sometimes than a 3-month shoot and an hour-and-a-half film. You become sort of the art piece, and it's kind of more interesting to me.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, then why not subscribe? Click right here for lots more off camera. And if you want to see the hour-long version of these conversations, I'm going to give you the secret link. Here it is, offcamera.com. Check it out.